Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are good today. Now, I'm delighted to be joined by Daisy, and it has been a while since we've chatted about Arsenal women, but there's definitely a lot to go through. We'll be looking ahead as well to the game coming up at the weekend. But first of all, Daisy, thank you for coming on. How have you been? How's your summer been?
Yeah, really good, thank you. It's great to be back on the channel. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to talk because we're in a very different position to the last time I came on the channel and we spoke. So very different, very more positive mindset, definitely. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, summer was great. Obviously in Euro summer, never can complain about when we have a nice international tournament. Headed over to Switzerland, so I spent a few weeks out there, which was great. Got to see football come home, and then yeah, straight back into it because it never ends, does it? Football, there's always something. So straight back into club football and Arsenal, and it's come around so quickly. I feel like I was like, oh, September's so far away when the Euros ended, but we're here
Yeah.
and it's back. So yeah, really excited for the season to get started. A few pre-season games I got to go to, but now the proper thing starts, and I'm feeling very optimistic going into it.
Yeah, I mean, last season, like we winning the Champions League, it still hasn't sunk in really. But I think, as you mentioned, you do feel quite positive about Arsenal because, if we could win that, there's so much more we can win in the season coming up. And yeah, I feel quite optimistic as well. I mean, I know every season it gets more competitive and harder, but I do think we're in a really good place, especially with the window. And I wanted just to ask you before we go on to the game about the window because we've had a few outgoings, and we know perhaps Lionesses might be leaving. I'm not sure with Beth Mead; that's still a bit uncertain. Um, how are you feeling about the window and maybe things that have just happened lately?
Yeah, so incomings, I think the players that we've had coming in, it's been a huge window for us, and I kind of was expecting that. Obviously, the Champions League, I think, played a huge part in who we was able to attract to come to the club. Not only just the money that we had to be able to spend, obviously 1 million on Olivia Smith, to bring in Taylor Hines, to bring in a goalkeeper Bobby, which we really wanted to do. And obviously there are still areas that we could have looked at going, to improve even further. But I think the Leah Volti news obviously not confirmed yet by the club, but
Yeah.
a little bit surprising, mainly because I expected obviously her to stay another season and kind of Arsenal to finally get that squad depth and try and build on the positions and bring new players in, but not kind of let the key players go. But I kind of understand the situation. It's very specific for her. She hasn't really featured as much because of injury. She doesn't necessarily sit exactly in that system anymore that Renee Sagers wants to play. She wouldn't be a given starter, and it's a new opportunity for her. And she's been there a long time. She's such an integral part of Arsenal, so you can understand that. Absolutely, the Beth Mead thing seems to have quietened down. So I'm not sure if
Yeah.
that's maybe something that might be off the cards. It seemed quite clear from Arsenal's pre-season that Beth Mead was heavily involved. I thought, she was in
Yeah.
a lot of the videos, wasn't she? She was kind of featured so much. I didn't know if that was maybe Arsenal's way of saying, she's staying, but that could still potentially heat up towards the end of the transfer window. But yeah, a really great window for us, and I'm really happy with the players we've brought in as well.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think we've had an amazing window. I think we've had depth as well. I think that's important for the team. And I'm with you. I'm really happy with Olivia Smith coming in. I think she's going to be amazing to watch. She definitely adds more depth, more competition as well. I mean, we've got Chloe Kelly. Her signing a new deal was so. I think we kind of expected it. I mean, I was really hoping she would sign a deal, but it was great to see her extend as well. Obviously, we've had outgoings as well. I'm with you. I think with Beth Mead, I mean, I think we'd all understand if she wanted to leave to play more football because I know at the moment she's more of a bench player. She's sort of that clutch player that comes off the bench and tries to get us like a win. She does obviously in the Champions League final. She did amazingly. So I think she probably will stay. But I think if she went, I think we'd probably understand because she's not really a starter, and obviously for her international career, she obviously wants to continue that. So yeah, I think we've had a good window. Obviously with Leah Volti, it's a weird one because like you said, it's not official. But I think it makes sense for her in a way because I think she's 32 now, and I wouldn't be surprised if she wanted to pursue something for maybe her last few years of her career. And it is crazy. She's been at Arsenal for a very long time, and I think we understand it, and she leaves in a good way. But I guess I'm a bit surprised that she wants to leave after winning the Champions League of Arsenal. But I think, as we said, she's been here for a while. She's won a lot with us. She's won the league title. She's won the Champions League now, and many more things. So I think we understand it, but it doesn't make it easier for any of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
I
go
think no, I just think. in terms of her position, like I watched a lot of her obviously for Switzerland, and she has struggled with injuries I think over the past season or
Yeah,
so, and it's kind of put her out of the conversation. I always think of her as one of those players that is quite underrated. I see a lot with you see it a lot with midfielders, especially those
yeah,
defensive midfielders. Kia Walsh is another example. She's gone through years of being at her peak. That was sort of how I see it, 22 Euros, and then going on to playing at Barcelona, and then she didn't get the credit she deserved. It's a very similar situation. So I think it is a different scenario now to when she was in that prime at Arsenal. And I think, like you say, positive note to leave if she does leave, because she pretty much has almost, I don't know if she's done it all, but she has done a significant amount over that time with Arsenal. But
yeah,
yeah, it's an exciting project, isn't it, at the moment with Renee Sager? So that will definitely appeal to a lot of players, maybe even Beth Mead, as you were discussing before. You know,
yeah.
seeing us win the Champions League, and then what this next season will look like, we don't know. But like you say, we're optimistic. We definitely can and should be challenging for everything. So that does present more game time, hopefully, and an opportunity to have moments like the Champions League final where you can come on and get the assist for the winning goal. So there's so much more to see from her. But it's all about, those last few days are always crazy in the transfer window, and you always get random things coming up that you didn't expect. But this one has thrown me off. I didn't see this one coming.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I've been doing videos about Arsenal, and people did say in the comments that they could see her leaving, I just thought, I just didn't see it. I don't actually know when I think her contract ends for another year. I don't know how long she's got left, but I think it's another year. And I thought, I suppose you'd maybe stay for that and then leave on a free. I mean, you'd rather get something for her now while you can, but it's a bit of a surprising one. But obviously, I mean, a lot of people have been saying, I mean, I've seen Chelsea fans saying that it is a big loss considering she's got that experience. We've got many leaders in the team, and she's definitely a big one. So I think she's definitely gonna be a big loss. I just wanted to read this out. If Leah leaves, Arsenal need to sign a midfield, even if not a sixth role, because not enough of quantity of that position to run the entire season. Do you feel like we might be a bit light in midfield? I know we've been seeing more of Palova, Cooney Cross, you got Kim Little, Marnham, Do you feel like that's a position that we might struggle with in the season?
I think this is a difficult conversation, and I've had so many discussions and written pieces about it because it really is baffling, and I've kind of seen it from both sides. I
Yeah,
think if you look at the system that Renee Sagers has been playing and wants to play and has played and did play for the second half of the season when she was in charge, she never typically had that number six. People have definitely pointed and been correct to point to the fact that that might have cost us games at times. That transition where we conceded goals because the midfield hasn't worked. But I think if we look at that Mariona, Kim Little, and Frida Mann in midfield, it worked extremely well at times, and obviously
yeah,
it helped us to big games, including the Champions League. So have we missed it? I wouldn't say necessarily. I think we do have options in midfield. I think this is a huge season for Kyra Cooney Cross to come in. It seems like Renee is backing her completely for this to be her breakthrough season, which probably has contributed to Leah Volti's decision to potentially leave. I don't think we necessarily need a number six. I don't think that that's the answer. I can understand why people might see we might be light in that area, but we've had other players coming in that can play that role. I think we've seen a lot of the fullbacks playing in sort of running as midfield and playing midfield. Jenna Niswonger does that really well. Taylor Hines has even been doing that in
yeah.
pre-season. So that's clearly, I think you've got to look at the manager's system and the way that the manager wants to play. And I think right now it is great to have. It would be great to have, but I don't think it would suit what Renee Sagers is looking for. And buying players for the sake of that, it does seem a bit odd in that way. But I think we're if we keep Mariona and we keep those players in there, and we play them in that position, I think we should be okay. But I guess it is something that needs to be considered should more of these players start to leave, like Leah
Yeah.
Volta and etc.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really like massively concerned because I mean, Pullover as well. I mean, it's going to be interesting because our midfield, especially in a Champions League final, was Cordente, Man, and Little. And I think to be fair, I think I'm okay. I think that works. Sometimes you do want to see. I mean, I like Cooney Cross as well. I think we've seen her have some really good moments. There's been times where she plays, and there's been times where you've had to rotate a bit. But I think we'll just have to see how we get on. And obviously in January, if we're struggling, then I think we can think about that as well. But yeah, I think we've got a lot of great midfielders as well. I think I do get it. If Leah Volti isn't going to get a certain amount of minutes as well, then you would understand why she would want to leave as well. Because I mean, Cooney Cross, definitely deserves more minutes, and Kim Little as well. We don't really know how long Kim Little wants to stay at Arsenal for. Obviously, us fans would hope she can stay for a little while. With Kim Little, how long do you think she's still got? Because you watch her in the Champions League and you think she's just so good, and you wouldn't realize how old she is. She's just so amazing at this level, and at the age she is, I just feel like I could see her going on for a little while.
Yeah, I think obviously there's been some kind of discussion and panic in a sense that we never really know with Kim Little when it's going to
Yeah.
be. And she keeps extending that contract every time we think this might be our last season with her. But look, like we know what a character she is, and also if you look at the minutes that she puts into training, and you know people say she's the first to be there, the last to leave, and she also obviously retired from the international side so that she'd be able to put more time into staying fit to play in club football, and she's done just that, because I don't think that she's just one that you necessarily drop straight away. I still think she's capable of playing a high number of minutes. I think obviously we managed the injury situation. That was a bit different. It wasn't really a fitness. She had specific things. I think at one point it was her hand. So people were talking about fitness. I was like, that's not a fitness issue. That's just an injury that she
Yeah.
unfortunately obtained. So I definitely think that you could definitely see more than one season with Kim Little, but that's her personal preference. And I can understand where the panic might be coming to the fact that if we do lose Leah Volti now and then Kim Little just decide to sort of leave it in a year's time, and then we look at Mariona's contract, then we're sort of in a panic situation where we'd have to buy more than one midfielder at once, and the transition period needs to happen gradually, not just all in one transfer window. So I think I agree with you. I think it's worth reviewing in January, but I do think we get more from Kim Little, to be honest, because we've not seen any signs really of her of her going anywhere. And like you say, she's always performed in the big occasions, and she came out with player of the match. I think it was against Lyon away, which was a huge performance. And then obviously she did really well in the Champions League final too. So yeah, I don't quite write Kim Little off just yet, I think.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I mean, I know she's like 34 now or 33, but she's just so good, isn't she? I mean,
Yeah.
injuries are going to happen. I mean, as she's getting older, she's going to pick up injuries anyway, but it's just crazy how good she still is at this level, especially in the Champions League. And I think it's crazy as well because some people don't realize she's actually the Arsenal captain, and I just think she's just so underrated at what she does. And it's great. It is great. I mean, obviously Leah going will be a loss, but we do still have a lot of leaders around the team. McCabe's a great leader. You know, Leah Williamson obviously is amazing, and you know we've got so many amazing leaders. So I don't think it's sad. It really is, but obviously Leah is 32 now. She probably will retire in a few years, I'm guessing. So I think we could understand. Obviously, guys, if you've got any questions or as you're more than welcome to send them in. I did want to ask you a bit about the season coming up because obviously in pre-season, in the other game against West Ham, we did win. You did feel as though we missed maybe a col dente in the game, but I think when you get those wins in pre-season, it just gives you that confidence. But obviously, we've got London City Lionesses, and they have made so many changes. It's crazy. I've been watching it. I'm just like, wow. How do you feel about having them as a first game? Because I just don't think it's going to be easy at all. I think they've improved. I think it's going to be quite a tough game.
Yeah, I think it is going to be a tough game, and I think it's going to be a tough WSL season. Probably, like you said at the start of the
Yeah,
podcast, it's sort of a season where people are gonna teams are gonna get better, and it is gonna get more competitive. If you look at London City, they are investing heavily in their team, the players that they're bringing in. But you've got to look at it as how I see it is we're playing them now, and they're obviously they need time to learn to play together. You've got a
yeah,
manager who's going to have a lot of players leave it, have obviously a lot of players that have left, and then a lot of new players coming in. It's basically the perfect time to play them because as they get into the season, you'd expect them to sort of build on something, start to get more consistent, start to learn how to play with each other, start to succeed more. So maybe potentially it is an advantage, but it also is a bit of a bogey team in the sense that they could come and cause an early upset. And I think at the WSL we looked at last season and the start that we had, obviously a different scenario, but we lost too many games too quickly, and then we were out of it before it's short of a season. It's very different sort of comparing it to the Premier League. You know, you can
yeah,
lose a game at the start and still win the title, but if you sort of lose a few games at the start of the WSL season, you kind of write yourself off a little bit because Chelsea obviously
yeah.
try and find a way to get the results, and they're still going to be a strong team. So it is obviously a little bit of a banana peel in a sense for Arsenal that they could fall at the first hurdle, but let's play them now is how I see it, because if they get time and they learn to play together, they're only going to be a better side
Yeah.
sort of going mid-season and getting on to the end of the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I think we have a lot of like faith and trust in the players, and obviously Renee, who I'll speak about in a minute. But I think you just have this confidence about the team because to win the Champions League last season, I think the team probably have more belief that they can go on and win even more in this upcoming season. Like a good way to see it, as you mentioned, you're getting out of the way early. I mean, when I saw the fixture, I was relieved we didn't have Man City and Chelsea because you don't really want them on the first game of the
Yeah,
season. But yeah, I'm interested to see how we do because I think generally these last few seasons, especially with Jonas, we haven't really started off very well, and I think those are the ones that you regret and you look back on and you wish you'd won. So yeah, I'm with you. I'd rather get this one out of the way as well.
yeah.
Obviously with Renee, I mean, she's done an amazing job. None of us probably would have expected us to win the Champions League, but how do you see her going into season? Because we've won something amazing. I suppose the expectation on her now is to keep winning. Do you feel confident that she's sort of the right person for our future in these next few years as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's so much that you can take from the Champions League, but not only just that. I think if you look at what she did, maybe excluding the few games towards the end of the season where we didn't perform as well in the WSL and it kind of made us drop off and there was no pressure sort of on Chelsea towards the end. But for now it's about her being able to build the squad that she wants. She's had a transfer window which is huge. We've brought in some great players that she obviously wants and can see fitting into her system. She's building on the existing team that she's obviously trusted a lot, and I don't expect that to change too much. Those starting players that she's had in there, obviously I've talked about Kyra, maybe that's a different one. Olivia Smith, you pay that much money, she obviously is going to have to come in, but the core is still there, and the core players that she's starting to build now, I see as Van Domselaar, Mariona, Fox, like Russo, those players aren't going anywhere. So it's really huge for her. I think the one thing I would say is consistency now. We haven't really had that at all in previous seasons, and we didn't really have that. We had a great run of form, I think, and then it kind of dropped off a little bit, and we lost a few cup games in there as well. So getting that consistency under Renee Sagers, if we can figure that out, if we can learn how to play the system no matter who's on the pitch and being able to rotate players, bring new players in, that will be the key to success. I think you're not going to get much better in the women's game than what she's done and what she's achieved and the kind of player that she is and person that she is. So, manager she is, sorry, and the person that she is. So, I'm really excited to see what we can kind of build from. But I think it's good pressure because we've
Yeah,
achieved something. It's great to be able to do that and kind of not just say, right, we're going to do this, that, and then not actually show it. So I'm really hopeful that we can challenge. I think for me the big one is the WSL because I really
yeah,
want to challenge, even if it goes all the way to the end. I don't want to be dropping off sort of towards the start of the season. I want to take it all the way to that final day and make it a bit dramatic. Obviously, it'd be nice to win by 10 points, but it's great that we'll be able to hopefully compete with the likes of Chelsea, United, City. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think Champions League is a different question, isn't it? Retaining that is a bit
yeah.
more difficult.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I mean, obviously, it'd be great to win it again, but I do think winning the league would be. I think to win the Champions League, especially before Chelsea, is just amazing. But I think to win the league, I think that'd be a statement as well because Chelsea have been winning it, season after season. I know we got close one year, and I know obviously Man City nearly won it a season or two ago, but I think for us, I think as you mentioned, it's about maybe competing as far as we can, like you said, up until the end. I think as well, it's like we have quite a good record actually against the top teams. It's just sort of those other teams that we might struggle with. So I think the league is hard in a different way to the Champions League because you got to be consistent. You got to, like you said, when you look at the Premier League, it's different because in the women's football in the WSL, you don't have as many games, so you can't really afford to lose many. Um, I think you can afford to maybe lose one or two if you're lucky. It depends on. You have to hope Chelsea lose as well. So yeah, I'd love to win the league as well. I think a lot of people, have said this as well, but I think it'd be great to get to Wembley and win an FA Cup. That'd be special as well. I think I'd say just to keep winning what we're doing and just I think as well with this we've got a lot of new players as well. We obviously know our sort of maybe our 11, but I think it's going to be exciting as well to see these new players come in. And obviously with Olivia Smith, we have paid a lot of money for her, and I was surprised we actually got her because I've always loved her at Liverpool. But do you think she'll end up being a starter? Because I've had these conversations and it's like Ford's done so well, Kelly's done amazing, you've got Russo. Do you think she'll end up being a starter in this team?
Absolutely. I think obviously it takes time, and actually I quite liked that Renee didn't throw in the deep end at those pre-season games
Yeah,
where she didn't start either of them, I think. And to see her come on and see what she can do, we obviously see we've got different options now and different players that can do different things, and we've also looked at it from the other side that Chloe Kelly can be an impact player. Caitlin Ford has even come on, I thought, and then she played up front in one of the pre-season games, and I think that's going to be the way that Renee Sakers is going to do it. It's not always going to be a like for like. It might be we need something different and someone else plays up front, and if we keep Beth Mead, she's an option in that sense, because she's, for many games last season, even before, she was playing sort of number 9 when we needed her to. And people look at it in a negative way for a long time, like Arsenal didn't have those options. But actually, the players that are, versatile and can play multiple positions, that's what wins you games, right? That's why Chelsea have been so successful in having players coming off the bench and changing games and winning them. That's what won them the league ultimately. I think it hit me the most when we was at Stamford Bridge last season and Chelsea brought on 4 or 5 of their
yeah,
what should have basically been their starting 11, and we just brought on players who struggled to have an impact, and didn't have the same effect. So I think that's where the key is gonna be. But I expect Olivia Smith to play that right wing position. She's done it for Liverpool, but also that the front three to rotate at times and
yeah.
play different positions and catch the opposition out, and then have the likes of Ford, even coming off the bench, Blackstenia. So there's lots to consider, and I think that's exactly what we've wanted for so long, is just to have that squad depth, especially up front, which I don't think we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I think squad depth is so important, especially when you're going for so many trophies like the league. Especially, you need to have a lot of rotation as well, because I mean, I don't really mind who kind of starts. I do think it would be the same sort of lineup for maybe the first few games. I think if it's like with Chloe Kelly when she first came in, she wasn't a starter. She came off the bench. Beth Mead started, and then it sort of changed. So I'm sure she will be a starter in at some point. And like I said, it's a good headache for me to have, because you've got so many amazing players to have. I mean, you look at our bench a few years ago, we didn't really have many players that could really step up and change the game. And it was like when we played West Ham, it was really good that we had some players in the first half, and then in the second half you could bring on players to give you more energy in the game, to give you new ideas. I think that's exactly what we need as well. And I just hope we could obviously win the league. I know Chelsea as well, they've strengthened as well. With the league, do you think it'll be, I know obviously Chelsea will be up there. Do you think Man City and United will be in the race? Obviously United have been qualifying, they've been quite busy. How many teams do you think will be in a title race?
I'd love to say that it's going to be really, really competitive. And looking at every side, there are strengths to every side that you've just named. Chelsea obviously are always going to be up there. They've had a somewhat strong pre-season. They've brought reinforcements in. City I see in a transitional period slightly more than
Yeah,
we are, in a sense, because they've got a new manager. They've got a lot of players that are still out from injury. New players coming in. I do see Manchester United as potential. I do think they have that, but for them, I think their focus is probably going to be on trying to succeed in the Champions League. They've
yeah,
clearly this is such a big thing for them, and to get far in that competition, they're qualifying at the moment, but I see that being something that they really want to do, because it's their first opportunity to really show themselves on the European stage. So that'll be really interesting. But I would love it to be competitive across all fronts, obviously not for for Arsenal to miss out, but that's what makes the league so exciting. And if you add
yeah,
teams in there like London City, who have obviously strengthened massively, Brighton, who have had a great transfer window, a lot of our really, really strong players going there as well, and providing them with an option. So it's gonna be competitive, it's gonna be tight. And I'm hoping that we get something exciting to watch, as it's not just a run away from Chelsea again.
yeah,
So I'm excited for that, in a sense. And I think those big games, especially that first one on a Friday night to start the WSL between City and
yeah,
Chelsea, if that ends in a draw, that puts Arsenal already, if they go and beat London City, at an
yeah.
advantage in the first week. So things like that are going to be huge, and those big games, I think, are going to dictate it this time.
I think as well, I do agree with you. I think it is better for the WSL if there's probably more teams competing for the league. I mean, I know we will be doing that. Obviously, when Rennie took over, I think by that time it was done anyway for the league. We'd lost so many games and we'd drawn it. At that point, I think we knew ourselves that it would have been difficult to win anything in the league. But I think now, like you said, she's had a summer window. I think it's well when she has a few more windows, we're going to really see what she's like as well. But yeah, I think it's going to be exciting how competitive the teams are going to be as well. I'm really excited for the game. Yeah. I'm pumped up for the Emirates. Yeah. We can't drop more than 6 points all season. It's so hard as well because you can't drop many points, you can't afford to do that, and I think that's so tough in WSL. I mean, I think you have to hope other teams drop points like Chelsea and Man City as well, but I do feel like you said, I think a lot of us feel quite positive going into the season because we ended it really well. We've had a great summer, and it does seem very positive as well. I want to ask you a bit about Zinsberger as well because she did, I think we all heard the other day that she will be staying at Arsenal for this season. I don't really know when her contract expires, but is it a surprise to you that she's staying? Obviously, I think Naomi Williams is going on loan, and Bob as well. We signed her. I guess they'll both be sort of fighting for the second place sort of position. But what did you sort of make of that news?
I'm really happy that she's staying, and I think that it is a difficult one because we've seen little from Barbara at the moment. We've only seen her in the
Yeah,
preseason one game. We saw obviously it was a difficult game for her, and she's still adapting to a new league, and you can't really judge someone off one game.
yeah,
I think if you're looking at Manu Zinsberger as a whole, she's had a lot of positive seasons when she first joined Arsenal. She was one of the best at what she did. She obviously then had a competition coming in that she actually managed to fight off quite a lot of competition that came in at the time. Obviously, that was when I would say she was at her peak. But then you have a player like Daphne Van Domselaar coming in who really did set the standard, and that obviously is going to be she's going to be number one going in. But
yeah,
competition is good. I look at it as two things. Competition is good. It means each goalkeeper is fighting for their position, so they're going to obviously want to perform to be able to be chosen as second choice or even push and put pressure on Daphne, which obviously is quite a difficult task, but it's never impossible. We've seen it happen at other clubs where the goalkeeper can be sort of the best, doing really well, and then all of a sudden they miss out to somebody else. Happens a lot in Manchester City, but as well, that we were talking about leaders before. Manu Zinsberger is a huge presence in that dressing room. There's no
yeah,
denying that. Her reactions on the bench, the way that she is with the players, how important that is. I think that's such a huge aspect of what Renee Sagers is building at Arsenal, and something that we were maybe didn't have as much before is that closeness, and that's what basically togetherness. That's what wins you. That's what goes towards you winning. Obviously, you need to perform on the pitch as well. But if you don't have that, you can really struggle, even if you have all the right players, a good manager. So Manu definitely brings that in abundance, and I'm glad that she's staying. And I think Naomi one was kind of expected.
yeah.
Four goalkeepers is a lot, and it'd be great for her to get some experience and yeah, to be able to come back and hopefully have played more games because she needs that, getting to that point now in her career probably where she needs to play consistently. But it's really exciting, and having three options is always a positive.
Yeah, I think especially if Naomi Williams is going on loan, I think you need a few other choices because we know Daphne Dumsala is so good, and she's settled in amazingly, and in the final, just her whole campaign, she's been amazing. I think I do think as well with Anik Bob. I mean, for all we know, she could struggle, or she could do amazingly. We just don't know how she's going to do. So I suppose Arsenal probably wanted to keep Tinsberger as, a player to have around the team and maybe someone who can come in. It's so hard with Tinsberger because I think sometimes she's great, but then sometimes when we play out from the back, we do look a bit nervous at times. But I think she's really great at the saves that she makes. I mean, she played in the Lyon game. I thought she did some good saves as well. And I'm actually happy she won the Champions League with us because I know she's been with us for a while. She has worked really hard over the years. But yeah, it's hard because with injuries, you just don't know when they're going to happen as well. So I think we just have to hope Domsart is going to be fit for a long time and injuries will happen. I think rotation is going to happen. Probably going to see a lot of rotation in a lot of other positions, especially in the cup games. You want to see some other players get some chances as well. Obviously, as well, we have seen some players go on loan. Obviously, Michelle Adjemang, also seen Cavacci go on loan. For me, it wasn't really a surprise. I think it's probably good for them to get minutes and hopefully be a part of Arsenal in the future. But what did you make of those sort of loan deals that we did?
Yeah, Kafaji, I think, was an obvious one in the sense that I just really didn't want Arsenal to sell her because I don't think she's had that opportunity
Yeah,
yet to prove herself. But I think she's obviously young. She was adapting to a new league and coming in. It was always difficult for her because of the circumstances that were happening at the club at the time as well. So it didn't help her. I think hopefully for me, it's that she plays consistently because that's what she needs. She needs time to adapt. I think it was Renee who spoke a lot about the fact that when she comes in, she obviously wants to impress, and then obviously that means that she's not necessarily perform into the system as well, because she's trying to, create chances, score goals, show what she can do, but she's put under a bit of pressure in that sense. So being able to consistently play for Brighton will be huge for her, and
Yeah,
at the top, at the same league as well, which I hope would happen. I hope she would stay in the WSL, because that's the league she needs to adapt to. Michelle, I think I was a bit more on the fence about. I definitely,
yeah,
obviously, having watched the Euros, sat there the same as everybody else and thought she could definitely be an impact player for Arsenal. And again, I just wanted Arsenal to make sure that they don't let her go on a
yeah.
permanent transfer, because she's obviously she could be a huge presence for us in the future. She could definitely have that opportunity come up, especially if we're monitoring Stina Blackstenius' situation. Obviously, it seems like she's staying this season, but going on from that, I'm not sure. So bringing Michelle back after that will be huge. And there's obviously, we always have a great relationship with Brighton as well, a club that we
Yeah.
clearly like sending our players to, and they obviously develop really well there. So it really is positive that we've made not just the positive signings and the good outgoings, and we've also looked at the loan situation and made the right decision in that sense. So yeah, I'm looking forward to kind of watching them and seeing how they develop, and hopefully they're both coming back, and then we've got a different conversation to have sort of in a year's time, and how we fit all these players in.
Yeah, I'm happy for them both. I mean, I think with Ajimang, it's always tough because, I mean, I think with Stina Blackstenius, I think the goal that she got, I mean, I was so happy for her. I think, you look at the players in the team who won the score, I just think it was really deserving of her to get that goal. And I think she's just that player for us that turns up in those big games, and it'd be silly of us not to keep her here at Arsenal. I would definitely want to keep her. We've seen Russo probably have her best season at Arsenal. She's massively improved under Rene. And if we're being honest, it would have been hard for Ajimang to get many minutes. And if we're being honest, probably wouldn't have been fair for her to just come on for maybe 15 minutes, because I think with Michelle Jemag, we know how amazing she is. What an amazing Euro she had as well. Even before then, I think as Arsenal fans, we knew how great she was then. But I think when she comes back, it'll be good to see how we can sort of fit her in the team, because there's definitely a place for her in the team. And obviously with Gavaji, as you mentioned, I think with her, she's had like a proper chance. I mean, she's played in some games, and when she played against Man City, she did pretty good. But it's sort of hard, as you mentioned, because you've got Kelly, you've got, Beth Mead, you've got all these players now, and it's really hard to find room for them. But I think this is definitely a really, really good move going forward. We also obviously did see Lena Hurtig and Amanda Ilstedt go. I think obviously Lena Hurtig, it's just a shame it hasn't worked out, and I'm happy she's gone, to really get some more playing time. Would you say you're kind of happy with the outgoings that have happened so far? I know obviously Tia Goldie and other ones have happened as well.
Yeah, I think all of them, in a way make sense. A lot
Yeah,
of it has been expected. We kind of looked at the Taya situation and thought that she'd had a really good loan spell at London City and might go there. The same with Freya Godfrey as well. The young players you expect, I think we're still expecting a few more outgoings in the next day or so for a lot of the younger players, coming into I think Layla Harbert to the NWSL as well. That did kind of
yeah,
surprise me, that we're kind of looking. I like that in a way, that we're looking at other leagues and how players can develop in other teams beyond just sending them to Championship or lower WSL clubs. That's really exciting. And yeah, I think Lena Hurtig is an expected one. It didn't really work out, and as Arsenal look to recruit and try and move past that stage and look at these other players, like big signings like Olivia Smith signing obviously Chloe Kelly on a permanent transfer, it just wouldn't have worked. I didn't expect Amanda Ilestedt necessarily. I think that I quite liked what she came in, and she did the job that she was intended to do. She was
yeah,
always brought in to be that option. She scored set piece goals that contributed to I think the 4-1 to Chelsea that we always remember at the Emirates. She had moments in cups where she brought us back into games. She was obviously brought in to do a job, and I think she did that, and she's given us, and in the time she just had a baby as well, so she really is
yeah.
incredible. So yeah, I think that it wasn't expected necessarily, but at the same time it does make sense for her to go and play consistently now, especially coming back from having obviously being pregnant, having that baby. So yeah, lots of expected outgoings and probably a few more loan deals to come through, but I'm really happy with the transfer business that's happened with Arsenal so far, and maybe we'll see what goes on in the next few days. Obviously it looks pretty likely that this is going to be the end for Leah Volti, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's gonna be, I think it shuts on Thursday, so there's so much going on. It's gonna be quite a hectic few days. I
Yeah.
just wanted to go through a few questions. Obviously, big up to chat. If you guys have got any questions, you're more than welcome, send them in. Obviously, guys, do make sure you obviously like and subscribe as well while you're here. how long do you think till Smith gets subbed on? I presume this is a game against London City Lionesses. I mean, I think we're probably going to see, I assume we might probably see Kelly, Ford, Russo. I mean, I'd say it depends on how the game goes, but I think we'll probably see a good run out. What do you think?
I'm still a bit on the fence with this one because obviously she hasn't played the pre-season games and she hasn't started. Well, she has, but she hasn't started them.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is just a ploy from Renee Slagers to
Yeah.
kind of
Quick,
understand
yeah.
how she plays and how well she's going to do, and she might start that game. I think there's got to be an eventual point where that moves from getting a few minutes at the end to starting the game. So I'm interested to see if maybe she actually does get that nod ahead of potentially Ford in that sense. But it is going to be interesting. I think if she doesn't start the game, you've got to be looking at. It's hard to say because you don't know how the game will be going. It's really hard to say
Yeah.
when a player is going to be subbed on, but she's going to be looked at if we need a goal, isn't she? She is that impact player if she's not starting that match.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's hard to know. I mean, we could start her. That's a good question. I think all I'd say is because she's not had a lot of minutes, like enough minutes to start. I mean, like you said, it could be Renee just trying to throw off the managers,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see. A good question here actually from Jay. I was a very casual fan of Arsenal women. I don't know what standards fans have for our ladies. What are the expectations we should have for the season? I think it's a good question because we've just won the Champions League. We're going to a new season. I think, like we said, I mean, I think it would be great for us to. I think we just have to maybe go in more for the title race. Try and go up, up until the end with Chelsea, Man City, whoever's there. Obviously, I said before, I would love us to win an FA Cup. I think it would be very special to get there because it's been a while. Since we won the FA Cup. But yeah, what about you for the season?
I think like we've always as a fan base had a really high standard, obviously based
Yeah,
on the history of the club and us sort of being up and competing for a long time. I think in recent years, obviously, we have kind of fallen off in the sense of the league. We've let Chelsea dominate for far too long, and our consistency across managers, systems, results has just not been there. But now it definitely feels like a turning point. Getting somebody like Renee Sagers in, who is obviously the club trust. We know this is a huge project. It will definitely take time. I know this is only half a season that she's had, so it's crazy that we've managed to come out with a trophy of that caliber in such a short period of time. But yeah, you're right. It's about that consistency for me. We should be challenging for the league title. We should be competing at the cups. We should be, trying to win. We should be, challenging the Champions League. We've got the squad depth. I think it
yeah,
depends on the manner of which we do it as well. Because if you think back to when we lost to Wolfsburg at that sellout Emirates, yes, we lost. Yes, we missed out on the final, but we didn't come out of it like disheartened. We were proud of what we achieved
yeah,
because of the performance. If you put in the performance and you don't do it, that is very different to what we've seen in recent years from Arsenal, where we've kind of dropped off
yeah.
at the start of the season and not really competed. So I think that's it. It's the standard that we're setting and the consistency we're trying to build. But we should absolutely be challenging for every single trophy. The same way
Yeah,
that Chelsea are going into it with the mindset of wanting to win the quadruple, we should be doing the same.
yeah, I completely agree because I mean Chelsea have always wanted to win. I mean, I think they won a double last season. They've always had their mindset on winning so much, and like you said, I do agree that we have to have the same mindset of trying to win everything we can. And I do think that winning the Champions League has been a really big turning point because I mean, I didn't expect us to win. I just, Renee only had sort of half a season, and she didn't really have time to bring in her own players. I know we do have a good squad, but I think the job she's done is just incredible, and it still doesn't feel real that we've won the Champions League. But yeah, I think going to next season, I think we're going to get even better. And it's really, I think with the league, I think because a lot of these players that have been here, like McCabe, Beth Mead, Williamson, Kim Little, they've not won the league for a little while now, and I'm really rooting for them to win it as well. I think as well having the support at the stadiums has been a big thing for the fans and for the players. I think that's been a big reason why a lot of these players want to stay. Because I mean, when I started watching Arsenal women to now, it's been crazy. Sort of the attendances and how the game's really grown.
Yeah, definitely. I think that helps massively. Obviously, 11 games at the Emirates, but even beyond that, like look at what we did last season with away support, all the way in Europe. We had huge meetups. There's so much more to it at this point, and we do have that advantage and we have to use it. Obviously, at the end of the day, we can't get on the pitch and perform. We can't make those players, get the result, but that has definitely helped so much. And like you say, the players want to win. And if you look, I know there's a few comments there on Chelsea and what they've been able
Yeah,
to do. At the end of the day, they're a great team on paper. There's no denying that. But
Yeah,
what's won them, trophies, what's got them to the success that they got last season is just that they have that squad depth, they have that ability to bring
yeah,
players on that can change the game, and we're starting to get to that point now. If we can do that with a strong manager like Renee and her own players and her own system, and figure out also not to be so predictable, to be able to make changes, to be able to
yeah.
react to the opponent, that's what's going to win us and make us succeed. And it really is that at the end of the day, if you break it down, that's what it comes down to. So I'm hoping that this is a turning point for Renee and being able to achieve that.
Yeah, I think as well, I think in recent years we've probably had a strong 11, but we've not had a great sort of squad depth. As we mentioned before, the bench hasn't been strong enough to really win games. I think as well, like I remember when, sort of near the Jonas time, we probably ourselves didn't know our strongest 11, and now we know who our sort of right now the strongest 11 is. And I think we've got a great team, we've got, a great manager. I mean, with Renee, I mean, a lot of us probably didn't know much about her, and she's really proven herself, and she'll really want to kick on the season. We've won something amazing last season, and I guess like you said before, it's going to be really hard to sort of win it again, the Champions League. I mean, I know Barcelona women are going through a bit of a problem at the moment, but every sort of team is improving. Um, Obviously, I would say the league would be the one we want to win. Even if we do want to try and win the league, do you think we should still try to, with the Champions League? Do you think we should focus on that and just maybe try and win what we can?
Yeah, I think there's going to be that temptation from the players as well to want to win that, having seen what it felt like to do
Yeah,
that, and obviously what we were able to do after with the trophy parade and being able to have all the fans there together, and just seeing that and seeing that's the standard that we've set now, right? That's the very much of what we can
yeah,
achieve, and we did that in a transitional period. What could we do with a bit of consistency? I've always looked at it like I want to win, the league, but I don't think you can at this point. Chelsea never look at it like let's just win one trophy. They look at it like
yeah,
how can we be good in all fronts. Obviously, they fell short against a very good Barcelona side, but I think to be able to compete across all cups and all competitions is the ideal scenario for a team. And when you get to that point, that's when I kind of determine, we're being successful again. So I think that's it for me. I don't want to drop out of cups to unnecessary teams, and I would love our fan
yeah,
base to get to Wembley as well, because obviously it would be great to see that and see how
yeah.
many fans we're able to bring, and obviously the players who haven't won the FA Cup in a very long time, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it'd be nice as well because I mean, I think with United, I mean, they've done great at doing that. They won it a few seasons back, and you could really see how much it meant to the players. I mean, especially Ella Toon, who loves loves Wembley. So I think it'd be amazing as well to those players that haven't actually experienced Wembley before, because we've obviously got a new squad as well. I'd really love to get to Wembley. So I think we have to have the same mindset as Chelsea, just to try and go for everything, and also in like the cup games and the FA Cup, the League Cup, we can actually put out a good, backup, team if we need to rotate, if we need to give players a bit of a rest, because we will be having quite a busy schedule. So I think it's going to be good this season. I'm excited as well. Before we end the show, I just wanted to ask you a bit about the lineup. For the game against London City Lionesses. Obviously, Leah is going to be out for a little while. What sort of a lineup are you expecting? Because I know we've got a lot of players have played again, like Russo, Chloe Kelly. They've started getting minutes. Do you expect to see a sort of similar lineup to last season, or do you think there'll be many changes?
Yeah, I think Renee is going to continue with what she's built. I think it's obviously we can't kind of underestimate London City, as we've talked about, throughout this
Yeah,
this whole show. It's we can't underestimate them, and we can't put out a weaker side. For me, I think the obvious one is just a like replacement. Ruben Moy coming in for
yeah,
Williamson at this point in time. Obviously, continuing with Van Domslar, McCabe, Fox, and Cat Liu did so well last season, and
yeah,
I expect her to continue, especially when Williamson's not there. And I would say that it will be Kyra that will play. That my question is who for? I don't know, because she's played
yeah,
with Kim Little. She's sort of not like Mariona's been coming in and out, but you'd expect Mariona to have to start pretty much every single game that she possibly can because of her talent. We know what she did in her first ever season for Arsenal. She's one of the best, right now. And for me, I'm gonna say that potentially this could be an opportunity for Olivia Smith. I expect she's up for the occasion. She doesn't seem that type of player that's intimidated by playing in a big stadium and being under pressure on the first game. So I think Marnham will start as well. I think Renee still backs her, and obviously she just signed a contract extension. So really, for me, it's whether that's sort of we'd go with a partnership of that we trusted so much in Little Marnham and Mariona, or maybe try and reduce the minutes for certain players and have Cooney Cross coming in. So yeah, we're going to need to be solid defensively. There's a lot of talent in that London City side. I don't want a
Yeah.
midfield that will sort of do similar to what we saw against Spurs in pre-season. You know, we need players who can deal with that transition, and London City, I think, are going to go attack. They're not going to sit back. I think they're going to try and, you know, put us under pressure from the very start of the game. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I expect a really strong lineup and a lot of continuity from last season.
Yeah, me too. I think we knew last season the lineup that we always put out worked well. I mean, I think I would kind of like a little surprise thrown in there, like, like you said, Olivia Smith. I think it would throw the manager off a bit because she's not played much. They're probably not. I mean, I don't expect her to play, but it would be nice to see her. Obviously, get minutes as well. I'm excited to see how it will go. I think we'll see the same sort of lineup. Obviously, I think Ruben Moy would be probably the most sensible option to replace her, because I think with Moy, I think she's a decent player. I know at the moment she's probably more of a squad player, more of a rotation player. If Leah's not here, or if Steph Catley's not here. And you mentioned a great point, because Steph Catley's done such an amazing job. I think she's so underrated, and I think she has been playing at left back a lot, and her playing with Leah is just I think it's just really improved her, and I think a lot of people starting to see how good she is. But I think we'll be okay with the injuries, because you mentioned about the squad depth as well. We've got that now, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm just so excited for the game now we're talking about it. Someone says, Sam, it won't be an easy game against Sun City unless on Saturday. I'm going 3-2 to us. I wouldn't be surprised if it was kind of a hectic game, because as you mentioned, I think they're going to attack and will have a lot to offer as well. But yeah, obviously, thank you for coming on my channel today, Daisy. It's been great to chat with you, and obviously, thank you to all of your comments, guys, in the chat. It's been lovely to chat with you as well. Do you want to just tell people where they can find you if they want to find you on social media?
Yeah, of course. So probably the best place to find me is on Twitter. So I do typically use that. So it's DaisyGH02 on Twitter, and I use that a lot for anything to do with work I'm putting out or pieces I'm putting out, and yeah, anything discussing Arsenal a lot of the time. So if you want to follow over there, that would be great. But yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's so fun to chat, and a more positive chat, which I quite
Yeah,
like. So yeah,
yeah.
looking forward to
Last
the
time
season.
wasn't great. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we did have a different kind of sort of conversation last time, but great to see, a more positive one. But yeah, looking forward to the season, and thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. It's always lovely to chat with you as well. And yeah, I'm hoping it'll be a good season for Arsenal. And obviously, thank you to everyone that's joined in. It's been lovely to answer questions, or to those that just watched this, thank you so much. And yeah, I've really enjoyed having you on today, and hopefully you'll have a really good season. But thank you all for watching, guys. Please obviously make sure you've liked this video and subscribed if you haven't already. And I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.